but I've been here many times. And then when I started doing the TV series, Walker, Texas Ranger, they kind of stopped my time of being able to come to Australia. So this is really great because I haven't been here in quite a while, so it's great to be back again. Gina, my wife, has never been here. This is the first time. I didn't want to go to college. And after I finished high school, I didn't want to go to college. And so I'm thinking, what should I do? So I decided to join the Air Force military. And I was soon sent to Ulsan, Korea, and started training in judo. I started training with the Master on the base. I knew nothing about any other martial art. One day, I went for a walk through Ulsan village. I look up on a hill, and I see these Koreans executing kicks in the air. And I said, what the heck are they doing? I wanted to go over and find out, but they looked too mean to walk over to. So I said, okay, I'll walk back to base. I asked Master On. I said, what was it the Koreans were doing? He said, it is called Tang Soo Do, the art of empty hand fighting, using your feet and your hands as a weapon. I said, oh, wow. Anyway, I told my Master On I'd like to train in Tang Soo Do. So Master On took me to meet the chief instructor in Ulsan, Master Shin J. Chul. I began training in Tang Soo Do, and I started working out 6 to 6 days a week, 5 hours a day. I left Korea. I was a black belt in Tang Soo Do and a brown belt in judo. That's how it all began with me in the very beginning. As I got back from Korea and got back to California, I started training with other instructors. I changed my system from Tang Soo Do to Chan Kuk Do because I started training with many top instructors from other systems. I trained with Fumio Demura, who was the 1963 All-Japan Karate Champion. What an incredible guy. And the Fumio system is Shito-Ryu. Fumio showed me how to blend moves using my hands and my feet together. And then I trained with Hidetaka Nishiyama. In the 60s and 70s, they were the top instructors in the world. He was the master of Shotokan karate. And then I trained with Master Oshima, another Shotokan, who encouraged me to go beyond my physical limitations. He pushed me to the point where I didn't think I could do any more. Then he pushed me to go even further in my training. Then I trained with a Korean guy named Jun Chong in Hapkido. I also trained with a guy named Gene LaBelle, an expert in wrestling, boxing, judo, and jiu-jitsu. I consider him the toughest guy I've ever met. Gene and I were grappling, and he got me in a chokehold and started really biting down on me to the point where I went unconscious. I was unconscious, and finally he gets me up, and I'm looking at him. He says, "I want you to know what it's like if you decide to choke somebody unconscious." I said, "Well, now I know." And it was quite an experience. Anyway, training in all these systems is when I decided to change the name Tang Soo Do to Chan Kuk Do, which means universal way. That's why I call it universal way. Universal way.
You never heard of Chuck Norris?
Mm-mm.
4-time world karate champion?
6.
After winning the international championships in 1967 and 1968, I got a call from Aaron Banks, the promoter of the World Professional Championships. He asked me to fight for the middleweight championship against a guy named Luis Delgado, and it will be held in New York. I thought about it and I said, why not? Why not fight for the world title? 3 months later, I am in New York for the championship. It is being held at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, if you guys are from New York. Anyway, that's where we had the fight. The night of the championships, there are over 20,000 people in there watching the championship. Bruce Lee was one of the men that was there. As I am preparing to fight, I see Bruce Lee in the front seat. I look at him and I say, I hope that I get a chance to meet him. Finally, as I'm doing that, as I'm looking at Bruce and thinking about, meeting him, all of a sudden I'm thinking, I better start thinking about this fight. Well, I'm going to get my butt kicked real quick. Because that fighter, he's ready. He's ready to get into it. So anyway, we started fighting, and fortunately, I wound up winning the world title. And after I won the championship, Aaron Banks said to me, Bruce Lee would like to meet you. I said, great, because I want to meet him. We went up, Aaron and I, we went up to where he was, sitting. As we were talking, as I'm talking to Bruce, I said, don't you live in Los Angeles? And Bruce said, yes. And so we decided to begin working out together. We trained together for over 2 years until he left for Hong Kong and to begin his movie career. So I didn't hear from Bruce for over 2 years. Then one day he called me and said he has done 2 movies and he is getting ready to do the 3rd film called Way of Dragon, Return of the Dragon, however you want to name it. He says this movie is going to have the best fight ever done in film. And I would like for you to be my opponent in this fight. It will be done at the Colosseum in Rome, Italy. It will be 2 gladiators in a fight to the death. Best of all, we can choreograph the whole fight together. That's great, Bruce, but who wins? I do, Chuck. I'm the star. Oh, you're going to beat up the current world championship, huh? No, again, said Bruce. I'm going to kill the current world champion. Anyway, I laughed and said, I kind of expected that was what you were going to do. But I want to tell you, you're the only guy I would allow to kill. Brett says, yeah, I know. I'm the only one. So anyway, of course, as you know, I did do the fight and with Bruce, and he let me, do a lot of things myself. And then all of a sudden he started coming at me really hard. But anyway, he throws me down, and and he comes down and grabs my chest. And everyone says, did he pull the hair out of your chest? And I said, no. Because if he did really pull the hair out, we'd have really been fighting then. But it was great. It was really great to do something like that early in my career. Because remember, this is 1972. This is before I decided to get into the movie business. And so this was just, to do it because I like Bruce so much. When we did the fight scene, he says, okay, now what do you want to do? And I said, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. And he says, okay, I'm going to do this. And so we just kind of put the fight together.
Isn't that really cool?
It was amazing because you don't normally do that. So we just knew each other so well. We knew each other so well that we knew what would work and what would look good.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And so that's how we got to put it all together.
I'm sorry, did I hurt you?
Of course you hurt me.
One night, Bruce Lee and I are working out. And after we finished working out, Bruce tells me he has been signed as a stunt coordinator for a film called The Wrecking Crew, starring Dean Martin and Elkie Summer. there is a role that I think you would be good for, Bruce said. You will play Elky's bodyguard, and you will fight Dean Martin. I said, oh, really? That sounds pretty good. It sounds good. So anyway, everything was going great in the movie until my fight with Dean Martin. I had to throw a spinning heel kick over Dean's head. I asked Dean how low he is going to bend so I can know where the kick should go to. So he said, I'm going to go this low. So anyway, Dean shows me how low he's going to bend. The fight begins, and so I throw my spinning heel kick over where he was supposed to bend. And guess what? He didn't bend. It stayed there. He didn't bend a bit. Anyway, I kick him right in the shoulder, and he goes flying across the room and scares the daylights out of me and everybody else. So I go running over to him.
Kill the star.
And I said, are you okay? And he says, yeah, I'm all right. He was cool. He was really cool about it. We go a second time. I said, okay, this time, whether he bends or not, my spinning kick is going to go over his head. So anyway, staying like this here, I'm gonna put the spinning heel kick right here. Guess where he goes? All the way to the floor. So he's there, my kick's up there. So like a kid, 6 gaps between it. I said, well, that's not gonna work. So anyway, we wind up doing the third time, and I said, okay, just bend this far. Just do this far, okay? He's okay. All right. So anyway, the next time, the kick went right, perfect. So it was wild enough becoming a perfect technique.
I heard another rumor that you were bitten by a king cobra.
Yeah, I was. But after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
Expendables 2 was a lot of fun. After I did the film and got back home, the U.S. Today newspaper called me. They wound up writing an article called Chuck Norris Fact. He's still a killing machine. That's what the newspaper is saying. The Expendables 2 star gets top body count. The fact is undeniable in the action star heaven of the Expendables 2. Norris is the one who tallies the biggest bad guy body count when he takes out a mini army single-handedly, saving his trapped co-stars.
Booker, you're the one people call the lone wolf?
I've been called that, but I have known.
I had karate schools back in the 60s, and I taught thousands of kids. But I thought, what about the kids whose parents can't afford it? How do we reach them? There's millions of them out there. So I started thinking, as in my career, how can I help these kids? So finally I said, well, if we could start and teaching it in the schools. I went to the Board of Education, and I said, what do you think about starting martial art programs in the schools and explaining the best why the martial arts does help these kids?
Characters are.
And they said, that will never happen.
They thought it would make bad kids worse.
So anyway, I forgot about it. Well, President Bush Sr., I'm having lunch with him. He says, do you have any idea, anything you want to do besides your martial arts and in your film career? I said, well, now that you mention it, I said, I wanted to start a program with kids in the school system, using the martial arts as a tool to get these kids going in the right direction of life. He said, why have you done that? I said, well, because the Board of Education said that will never happen. He said, well, I'll take care of that.
and he did.
And he did. So we started, in
25 years ago.
And now, we've, like I said, we've gone through 100,000 kids. And the kids, a lot of these kids now are from gang members. A lot of these kids are gang members. And so once they join the Kickstart program, they have to break off all that. So anyway, one day, one of our sixth graders who they're broken off from the gang, 3 of his friends stayed in the gang. And so anyway, they said to him, said, if you don't stay with us, we're going to beat you up. So now, the kid tells the instructor, well, our instructor there, there's nothing he can do about it. So anyway, as he leaves from working out, the 3 kids get him. And they got him up, and they're getting ready to beat him up. Well, one of our 8th graders, who's been trained for 3 years, sees this, and he's bigger. Anyway, he walks up to these kids and says, what's going on? And they look at him and say, well, not with you, not a problem with you, it's him. He said, well, if you've got a problem with him, then you've got a problem with me. So if you want to do something, let's do it. And they go, no, that's okay. And they took off running. So, but anyway, we have a lot of questions or answers like that.